This is the project we're going to do today. This is using Makin A Scene stamps, and so let's begin. Okay, I've got a quarter sheet of chrome coat glossy cardstock here. I'm going to use some memento black, Tuxedo black ink. Okay, now I'm going to take my stamp chamois and I'm just going to wipe off a little bit of the back and the ground underneath the baby. And then, okay, I'm going to use some monotone masking fluid. Going to shake it up really good. And then I'm going to just put a little bit on these horns here. Okay, and I'm going to give that a little bit of a chance to dry, and we'll be back. And I'll use a paper towel to mask off the house. Okay, it looks like this mask is dry, so I'm going to remove my Misty Creative Corner, and I will ink up the background stamp here. Okay, and before I stamp in these trees, I'm going to give this ink a good chance to dry because I see I've already smeared some of it. So I'm going to give this a few minutes to dry and we'll be back. Next, I'll use a glue eraser to remove the mask. Okay, and now I will ink up the trees. Okay, and I'm going to re-ink the trees with some Memento Northern Pine. Okay, and I'm going to give my scene here a chance to dry before I work on it some more, and then we'll be back. Okay, for the house I'm going to use some Copic markers, E55, E57, and E59. And I'll start with the lightest color. Okay, when I use alcohol markers, I like to buff it down with a paper towel. Okay, for the trim, I'm going to use some W4, W5, and W6. Okay, and I'll use the E55 and E57 on the mousse here. Okay, for the horns, I'm going to use some E31 and E34. Okay, and I'll use the same E31, E34 for the rocks. Okay, and I want to add some texture by the house where I masked it off. So I'm using a 0.01 micro pen. Okay, and now I want to add some background grasses. So I'll just put this on here. Okay, for the grasses down here, I'm going to use some YG13 and YG17. Okay, for these trees, I'm going to use G43 and G46. Okay, now I'm going to do some ink blending to add some color. So for the sky, I'm going to use Distress Ink Broken China, Mermaid Lagoon, and Blueprint Sketch. And I'm going to start from the lightest and go to the darkest. So I'm going to start with the Broken China. And I'm going to use a makeup brush that I got off of Amazon. And I'm also going to add some blue down in the ground area. Okay, and for the ground area, I'm going to use some twisted citron, mowed lawn, and bundled sage. And I will start with the twisted citron. Okay, and for the shadow areas, I'm going to use some faded jeans. Okay, and to hide these smudges up in the sky, I'm going to use my 03 Micron pen. And I am just going to draw in some birds. Okay, I'm going to use this small flower stamp, and I will try some of my Marvy. These are ones where I bought the re-inkers and I just filled some ink pads, some blank ink pads with the Marvy ink. I don't know how well this will show up, but we'll try it. And I'll try some red. Okay, and some violet. Okay, and to ground these flowers, I'm going to use this small little grass stamp here. And I'll use number 96 Jungle Green. Okay, next I'll use some gel pens. Okay, now I'm going to sign and date it. And I'm going to give this a chance to dry. And here's the final scene. I have sprayed it with Krylon UV resistant clear acrylic coating and then mounted it on white cardstock and then black cardstock. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.